everyone! Today we are reviewing the long-awaited, long-beloved Keeper Velocities Unraveled. Is the, I don't even know what number we're on, like 10th, 11th book in the series? I have the whole series. Like the whole series. Hang on. Oh no! Hold on. Can you see this? I've just been buried alive by books. Some people would think that that's like their great dream in life. Oh, okay. We all survived. I feel like I just survived Pompeii or something. Okay. So, today we are doing a book review of Unraveled and also discussing my opinions on the series because I feel like this was originally hold on. Here's the first book. This was originally a middle grade series, but it's gotten progressively darker as the series has gone on, sort of like Harry Potter. You know, like the first book of Harry Potter was totally suitable for like 9, 10-year-olds, but by the time it got to Goblet of Fire, people were kind of like, it's a little dark, a little depressing. Very serious themes, and it's basically like that with Keeper of the Lost Cities as well, because it started out as a book for middle graders. And then it gradually progressed into something that both middle graders and teenagers have read, especially since the first book came out in 2012. And, now it is 13 years later. I just got Taylor Swift flashbacks, if you know what I'm talking about. And now it is 13 years later, so all of those kids who read the books are now either young adults or teenagers. So it's sort of becoming a young adult anyway, because you don't give up your favorite series. If it's continuing, you check up on it, you read it, you're still a fan. And so this is the first book. If you're looking for like a light romance, very mysterious, very like academia based coming of age fantasy book that has so many books, like your TBR will be full for weeks, I swear. And these suckers are not thin, okay? Look at this. This is what I originally signed up for with the first book. Okay, look at that. Look at this. Let me tell you how many pages are in this. 844 in this book. That's like almost 1,000. I don't know, but they should have given the editor a raise on that. Like, whoever edited that book, thank you for your service. And also, are you doing okay? Because that was almost 900 pages. Hopefully, you're okay mentally. So today is going to be a bit of a shorter video, but I'm dedicated to the people. I'm just a serviceman. That's who I am, and I've been wanting to discuss this book for actual years, but it is frightening how many people don't know about it. So now I'm putting it on you guys because you're sort of my hostages. Yay! So let's talk about how I got into Keeper of Lost Cities, because it's actually a really funny story. So when I was about 13, my brother and I we made up a bet where I would read his favorite book series and he would read mine. But they were book series like with multiple books. So it was sort of a who will give up first sort of situation. And I picked a book series about 4 little girls who were in a book club, and then he picked Keeper of Lost Cities because he discovered it first. My mom got it for him unwillingly, without his knowledge, and then he ended up really liking it. And because a girl is the main character, he probably wouldn't have picked it up himself, but once he started reading it, because he was like, well, fine, mom said to, he fell in love with it, and he was so excited about every single book. And I was kind of over there like, what's this Keeper of Lost Cities business you're talking about? Then, the next year when I was 13, we made up the bet, and I started reading it, and I was hooked immediately. As in, like, I spent many nights awake reading. And that's a real sign that I was 13, because I've mentally aged about 40 years in a while. So I can't stay up super late anymore. Like when I was younger, when I was a kid, I used to be able to stay up very, very late into the wee hours of the morning and just be like, I feel great. I'm amazing and I feel like a young sailor the next morning. And now I'm not. Now I feel my knees and I wake up and I'm like, and I need like 5 pounds of water in order to feel better. So I can't do that anymore. So I do have to schedule my reading more. But that was just a sign of how much I loved the series. And I have been reading it faithfully ever since. And there's been a lot of since, because when I first started reading it, the latest book was Flashback, which is the 7th book, and now there are about 5 more. So I have gotten to experience a lot of the books. And the latest book, which I got on New Year's Eve this past year, very special over the holiday season, was Unraveled. Which, if you don't know, the book series basically centers around a girl named Sophie Foster, who finds out that she is in fact not a human, but an elf. And she's 12 years old in the first book, and then she gradually ages to about 16 in the latest book. And over the course of the series, she uncovers mysteries about the elven world and this hierarchical structure that they have, and these dangerous groups that are involved. And there's also a bit of a love triangle, but it progresses over the series. So it's very much, I don't want to say slow burn, because it's not really like a tension filled book, because, they're like 14, and it's pretty accurate too, because a lot of 14-year-olds, they're not professed experts at romance. So it progresses naturally the way that a real life romance probably would between teenagers. And then this latest one, Unraveled, sort of the 3 main characters, and there are about 5 main characters, but 3 of them are Sophie Foster, and then these 2 boys named Fitz and Keith. And if you're any kind of fan, then your automatic reaction is Fitz. What kind of a name is Fitz? A lot of characters say that. I said that. All my friends said that. Everyone says that when they hear the name Fitz. But anyway, so Unraveled is from Keith's perspective. And look at the hair. He's very well known for his hair. He's got some nice hair. But it also includes a special bonus chapter because I got the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. Very excited. And I love it when I go upstairs to the children's section and I'm like really excited about the new book and people are looking at me weird like, why are you excited about a kid's book? And I'm like, you don't understand. In 2020, what this series got me through, okay? Also, what are you gonna do? Like, you get to be a teenager and you just give up your favorite series when they're still putting out books about this immensely fascinating plot line with like death and drama and intrigue and plot twists and cliffhangers. No, you keep reading it, okay? It's not shameful. It's dedication. It's commitment, okay? I will never be as committed to partner as I am to this series, okay? This is my baby. This is my Shayla. This is my Wonder Bread. This is the trophy on my shelf. This is one of my most proud possessions, and I read it in a day flat. Not even a day. Like maybe 4 hours. Because it's also not very long compared to like 844 pages. Not very long. So, let's get into the review. So the tone of the book, I would say, is very lighthearted and fluffy. Keith is more of a rascally character. He's a bit mischievous. So the book really focuses on that, and it leans into elements that he didn't really share with the other characters, so you get to learn more about his family. And yes, I am trying to recall this from having read it like literally 6 months ago. So I'm trying to remember what did happen in the book. But it's etched into my memory, so you never really forget. It's just that good. But the tone is very lighthearted, fluffy, not very esoteric. These aren't hard to understand fantasy books. Like, there's a reason why kids could read these. They're accessible, but they're gripping, okay? And don't let the animated covers mistake you, okay? Think of it like romance covers. They might be animated, but they hold deep truths. So, tone was excellent. Keith is such a funny character. He's very much, he reminds me of Wes from Better Than the Movies, by Lynn Painter. I was reading Better Than the Movies this morning. and doing some TikToks about it, and I was like, this guy reminds me of Keith. No wonder I like him so much. My inner 12-year-old recognizes him from my other favorite series, Keeper of Lost Cities. So, of course, I'm gonna do that. And in case you watched my last video, my Q&A video, when I talked about my favorite series, the reason why Keeper of Lost Cities wasn't included is because I don't reread it as much as I do Harry Potter or the Hunger Games, because it is very dense. You know, a 12 book series, you're not gonna reread as much, and not when they're about 800 pages each. You know, it's not very rereadable, but it is like very digestible, and it sticks in you for so long, sort of like paste, that you don't really need to reread it because it's always there, you know, kind of backed up in your system. I don't know if that metaphor works. Let me know. Does it work? Anyway, so back to the book. So he's sort of a rascally character, and one of my favorites, honestly, in the whole series. Like, if he was the main character instead of Sophie Foster, I'd be fine with that. And basically, there are two people. You either are in the Team Fitz camp or the Team Keith camp. So, I was Team Fitz. I know, it was. Listen, decisions were made, choices were had by people, people being me, and it was a long time ago. Okay, it was when I first read Flashback, which is this book, and I originally thought that Fitz was, you know, just this upstanding, you know, he was so romantic and intelligent and, you know, like loyal, and he had like these like family values. And then you get to the next book after Flashback, and you're like, maybe not. And then I was rereading, I believe it was Never Seen, which is the fourth book. A lot of books. And I randomly started getting this Taylor Swift song playing in my head when I was reading a scene between Keith and Sophie. And I was like, oh, I see it now. Because that's really all it takes is a Taylor Swift song. And I'm sold. I'm on your team forever. And now I will fight anyone whose team Fitz. So in the comments, let me know. Are you Team Fitz? Are you Team Keith? Are you Team Sophie? Because I'm Team Sophie, you know? Whatever Sophie decides is what is true for me. But I will always be Team Keith. And if she doesn't want him, listen. I'm available. I'm free. But anyway, so Unraveled. I would give this a solid 5 stars. I would give it 6 stars if I could. That's how good it is. And let me try to see if I can get all the books back on my lap without them falling over and hitting my mic stand like they did earlier. Hold on. Okay, so this is like most of them because I can't actually get all of them in my lap, but look at this. Ready for this? I'm gonna play a sound effect. It's like it just keeps going. It's like the Tower of Pisa, but it just never ends. And that's what I read. Every year I hope for a new book. And storing them, in case you're wondering, storing them is like really, really difficult. So I have a really hard time finding places to put these, but I have a shelf from IKEA where you can sort of adjust them on the notches based on how much space you need for each cubicle. And I just moved one up, so then I have one that's bigger than the other, so I can stack these bad boys up. And it works out quite well. So that's my book review, and I now have to try to get out of this chair without collapsing or having these all hit my mic stand at the same time. So, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for coming back to the bookshelf to watch my book review for one of my favorite childhood series. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram And I don't know what else you use on your phone, but I'm probably on there, so look me up. I do weird stuff. Not weird stuff. Not weird stuff. I do fun stuff. It's not very rehearsed or scripted. I just like to, be the random me that I am. Can anyone tell that I'm a younger child? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. And I will see you next time. I'm thinking about doing a reading vlog. So I'll probably do a reading vlog next. So stay tuned for that. It'll be my first one.